Niagara College programs immerse students with a highly experiential learning environment enhanced by digital technologies. We place students at the center of all that we do. We are Niagara College.
Tired of searching for that one keyboard shortcut? We solve technology so you don't have to. At SkyComp, we are lifelong learners, always upgrading our skills and reading about the next new IT thing. Go to skycomp.ca/learn to better use the programs you work with every day. SkyComp Solutions, your technology support partner.
What a beautiful day, right? So who was here in 2019? So we're 2024 now, and in those years we had about 300 people, right? Collecting a lot of pounds of waste. How many? 10,000 pounds, right? So give yourself an applause for that. So people come together to make communities more beautiful, and like Walker does, is build a sustainable future, right? Thanks for coming out. We know we have 2 days paid volunteering. 1,200 people, 2 days. That's 2,400 days of volunteering work, which is more than 10 people full-time every day doing volunteer work, which is fantastic. So let's have a great day. Let's collect a lot of waste. Be safe. Everybody has their gear on.
Well, I think really, the greatest gift that we can give each other is time. It's really a part of Walker's DNA, and it has been since we first started in 1887. It's a great way to create a connection in the community which we live and work. And I think we recognize at Walker that there's a real need to care for our community, to be able to create meaningful impact and honor our promise that we have of building a sustainable future together, and that word together is really important. Niagara's a great place to volunteer because it's such a unique place with a huge diversity of possible experiences. As an example, an event like the World Rowing Championships really can only happen in a couple places in Canada, of which Niagara's one.
When you do Lake Canada Games, when you do World Rowing Championships, people from outside of Niagara come to volunteer. Some of the people I've met over the years would come in from Barrie and Peterborough to volunteer for events because they get such great enjoyment out of it. They take the experiences back with them, but they know deep down it's important to do what they do. They're not always necessarily a sport fan, but they're community builders, and they understand how important it is to the community. So I think this region is a great example of people that get it and understand that they get something back. I'm not talking about a t-shirt or a hat, but there's things you take away from sport that only sport can deliver emotionally and connection-wise. So I think that it becomes invaluable, and people get it here. There's no question about it. They do in other areas too, but this is a very fertile area of those that are interested in stepping up and stepping forward to help out because they know the result and what it does for the community.
A lot of us have had experiences in our life where someone gave us their time. They gave us their talent, their energy, and that allowed us to become who we are. And so many of us want to have that opportunity to give back in the same way that others gave to us. Volunteering is that chance to give back, whether it's helping out young people in the community that are, experiencing the world for the first time, or it's working with folks who are disadvantaged, who maybe have had a tougher lot in life. it gives us that opportunity to give back in the way others have given to us, and I think that's where that sense of pride comes from, right? Not just to show off what's amazing about our community, but to also demonstrate how important it is to be a good community member.
So to all the volunteers supporting the World Rowing event, I know you're creating an incredible experience for our athletes and guests from around the world. You are making a difference, and we are thankful for your time and dedication.
The Walker team is so very proud to be the official sponsor of the volunteers at the World Rowing Championships. We're very grateful to be a part of the Niagara community and really to all the volunteers supporting this event and creating an incredible experience for our athletes and the guests from around the world. Just thank you so much for offering a warm welcome from Niagara.
Definitely hard going into it, knowing that people might not have faith in you, might not think that you can do it. I've really had to work to overcome that misconception, those stereotypes. I've had a lot of coaches who kind of said to me, like, we can't really take you on as an athlete because of your impairment. You can't do the same things as your teammates. It's holding the team back. I've been called a liability. Because I really want to advocate that I am capable of doing this. My friends who have impairments are capable of doing this. It doesn't mean that we just have to be recreational athletes. We can compete at a varsity level. We can be competitive and win races.
With sweeping, you have to be a lot more, like, put a lot more emphasis on things than you would sculling. If you're at a U23 senior level, you can start being a little bit more strategic in how you place the blade. And I can say that with trusting that you're not going to pull like a U19, U17 and just. The steering is primarily like a timing and like a tech problem. We'll figure it out.
I'm Mia Biancanello. I'm from St Catharines, Ontario. I've been rowing for about 6 years now. I row for Brock's team and I row for the St Catharines Rowing Club. I was born with a genetic condition called oculocutaneous albinism. It affects the pigment and the melanin in your skin, which plays a big role in the development of your eyes. And so because I have that kind of delay in pigment, my eyes did not develop correctly, and hence I am visually impaired. So my vision has affected me my whole life. I have depth perception issues. I have very big fatigue. I had a hard time seeing the ball when I was playing soccer, following along in a dance class, and so I was kind of looking for something new to keep me active, and one of my neighbors was very into rowing at the time, so I did like a learn to row camp and I just loved it. So when I transitioned from elementary school to high school, I signed up for my high school's rowing team, and I just have been going ever since. I've enjoyed it so much. This team has been really good. I've had really good experiences with my coach, Liz Anese. Probably the reason why I've stayed in the sport is because I've had her support for so long from a coaching perspective. She's always been willing to put me in a successful spot, push me to my limit, just like she would any of her other athletes. When I started rowing, I looked for athletes who were like me, who had similar impairments, because they don't advertise that the same way they advertise other athletes that most people look up to in their sport. One of the first ones that I really did look up to was Victoria Nolan. So she's another visually impaired athlete. I've always looked up to her from like a bystander point because of how she's persevered in the sport and pushed herself even through vision loss. I was able to see a lot of the things I've gone through her, and that was really nice. And she's just a great person. When I've talked to her, she's so kind and so willing to give support.
What I love about rowing is that in my everyday life, I walk around very careful and nervous. Everything I do is slow because I'm afraid of getting hurt. When I get in the boat, all of a sudden I have that freedom. I don't have to worry about where I'm going. There's someone else steering the boat. I can go as fast as I possibly can, and it's just so exhilarating. You feel like you're flying. One of my fondest memories was rowing here in St Catharines at the Royal Henley Regatta. It was Canada versus the US, and my husband actually brought a whole school bus of people down from Toronto to come and watch the race. So the stands, it was packed. All of my friends and family were there. As we were racing, you could hear the whole crowd. It was just a great race. Ended up coming down to a photo finish. We had to sit there and wait for the results. The US beat us by like 1/100th of a second, so it was a pretty amazing experience. Regardless of what you're racing for, it's about your own efforts and your own goals outside of, what the external result might be. You can't have your goal being something that you have no control over, because you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. When you're setting a goal, part of it has to be something you're in control of. So whether it's making sure that you push yourself as far as you possibly can, whether it's, really working on nailing those technical aspects of the race, whatever it is that at the end of the day, you can say you did it, so that you can feel proud no matter what the result is.
From an athletic standpoint, I'm trying to prepare myself for my university season, hoping to be the fittest I can be for our training camp and selection process. From an advocacy standpoint, I'm trying to just implement more para races where I can. I'm trying to advocate for para athletes to be included. So for me right now, my goal is our Ontario University Championships. I'm trying to make sure that we have an event for para athletes, that our race is set up and accommodating. I'm also trying to get that at our national championship, have that population show up and show that we can be competitive and we can do something hard like this.
Adulthood is full of surprises, maybe too full of surprises. That's why CAA Niagara has reliable insurance plans. Be ready for the unexpected expenses with home, auto, life, travel, and pet insurance plans. Plus, CAA members get exclusive pricing on all of our plans. because adulting is hard, but CAA Niagara makes it easy. Click today for your free online quote.
People don't see that I go and get Botox in my leg, or that I go and have to do different stretches and different training than other people. Saying, like, you don't really have a disability, like, you shouldn't classify as para, and there's misconceptions on whether or not my disability is not that bad, and me kind of not telling people, and they don't understand how I grew up and all the stretching every night, and I would have to do walks and build my way up to things that went into getting me to where I am now that I don't think people realize, and they just see, oh, like, you fit in with everyone else, and it's because I've put the work in to get there. My name's Abigail Durliet. I'm 17 years old, and I'm from St Catharines, Ontario. I got diagnosed with cerebral palsy when I was 2. I was just a slow walker. I was a very slow walker, and I started crawling quickly but not walking, and I wasn't walking. So I started with a brace, and I think up until 7th grade I was wearing it. When I heard that there was a possibility of me not having to wear my brace anymore, I kind of started doing all my stretching. I started walking a lot with my mom, biking, trying to do anything to not wear it. I wanted to go into high school without having to wear it because, you're meeting new people, and I definitely got made fun of for it a little bit in elementary school, and never wanted to talk about it, never wanted to tell anyone about it because I felt embarrassed and ashamed of it. Starting high school, I didn't tell anyone, and my coaches, no one ever knew until this year. This was the first coach that I had that ever recognized it and noticed it, so but I'm glad that he did notice it in the end because it opened a lot of opportunities and doors for me. When I told him, he was like, oh, you might qualify for para, and I found out I did. There was just so much there that I wasn't expecting. So, I've been training a lot more since then. I've been upping my training quite a bit, and it's a lot more motivating when you have bigger goals to get to that you think are more achievable.
It's all new, it's all learning, it's all figuring out what para rowing looks like and what it could look like, because right now is one way, but the more para rowers we have, I think, the visibility increases, then that helps to attract more para athletes, and then it just makes it easier to have these para events, because it's always been these pockets. It's kind of the role you'll take on. Mia's doing some of it now, and is because you're so young and you'll be in it for so long, and say, okay, make it easier for whoever the next person is, so they don't have to kind of repave the road every single time we get a para athlete, and we're starting from scratch again.
Biggest achievement was probably reaching the developmental standard for para for Team Canada, and then I got accepted to race at Worlds. Unfortunately, we're not going to race, but I was scheduled to race, so that was a big achievement for me. Kind of knew that it had been a thought that it was going to get canceled because there wasn't enough para athletes. There's not many para rowers, and so a lot of them are in Paris right now. I think numbers is a huge thing. Even recently at Henley, we did a race, and it was straight final, which is very uncommon for a race like Henley. I think my other races, we had 50 boats per event. In this race, we only had 2 boats, and it was largely Americans. There's not very many here in St. Catharines, so just definitely a lack of people. So.
Most of our work is with people who are not athletic, actually. A percentage of work with those elite level athletes would be very small. It would be probably in the 1% to 2% range. And that's an interesting issue because what we gain from that work and working with elite level athletes really stretches us, really stretches our capacity as a company and as practitioners to explore the highest level of care that those people require to perform at their elite level. But what's really fascinating about that very small population group is that the demands that they put on themselves and on us as practitioners and as providers helps us to extend that work and that level of expertise into the rest of our population. Because 98% of the people we need have got needs in whether that's recreational sport or everyday needs like getting around their home. Our role is to take that level of expert care and technology and componentry and everything that we've learned in all aspects of our practice and apply it to our entire population.
This is my brace from Niagara Prosthetics. This is the first one I ever got, so it would have been around 2. It helped to keep my leg straight because my leg was very crooked. It's gotten better now, but it helped to keep my leg straight and helped to get me walking. So I have a very similar one that I have now that I only wear it to bed now. I definitely want to go to Worlds next year. There's talks about World Cup 1 and 2 in Italy and Switzerland next year, so I'm really hoping that I can do that and there will be entries for that. So definitely trying to work and get faster so that I have a better chance of going. And a longer term goal would definitely be going to the Paralympics, so I'm kind of keeping that in the back of my head and remembering that when I want to decide if I'm going to do a bike workout or not. You know, I got cut from a lot of sports growing up, especially in high school, because, you know, I didn't think I was good enough. And then growing, you know, I put the work in, so I was able to train with everyone else like normal. And, you know, I train with the Simcoe boys team most of the year, so it's realizing that you are good enough if you are able to put the work in. Rowing's a sport that you have to put a lot of time in and a lot of work in, so being dedicated and knowing that if you put the work in, you can get there, but it's a lot about your mindset.
At Genesis Niagara, the most important feature in every Genesis is you. Designed with the simple idea that the experience of owning your Genesis should be as exceptional as the vehicle itself. It's about valuing your time, respecting your lifestyle, and making things effortless, and building a relationship based on trust. Genesis Niagara serving Hamilton, Niagara, where you are at the center of everything we do.
Team Canada and Pilotary Estates Winery unite with a perfect pairing of tradition and excellence. Deeply rooted in pride, respect, and the pursuit of greatness. Celebrate the Olympic spirit with every toast.
So I started Ridley back then. The earliest you could start was grade 5. So that was in 1987. So I started in grade 5 and continued through. I started rowing. A friend of mine in grade 7 wanted to do the rowing camp. And then in grade 9, when you could start rowing at Ridley as a sport, one of my friends told me that we needed some more girls on the rowing team. So I came out and started then. Back then, we didn't row in the fall. We started with indoor training, so it was a lot of rowing ergometers, strength training. I remembered it was really, really hard. But then when we got on the water in the spring for the racing season, it all kind of came together. So I rode throughout high school and I loved it. And that was part of my decision making for university. I wanted to continue in university. So I went to Western and continued rowing throughout my university degree, and I loved it. And that's where I also started coaching. So I started coaching for a local high school there that some girls were looking for a coach. So a bunch of my teammates, we decided that we would coach a high school team there. You learn a lot. It was kind of trial by doing. So it was great. The student athletes that we were coaching were great, and we had really supportive coaches of our own who helped us when we needed help. But it's how I learned, how to rig boats, drive a trailer, everything from putting in entries to regattas. And the team was very new too, so we were teaching them basically from scratch. And although I really enjoyed it, I kind of wanted to come back. And at the time, Ridley was also looking for a women's coach and had asked actually a couple of times if I was interested, but I had other coaching positions. So when the timing was right, they were looking for a coach and I was interested. So 11 years ago. There were a few big changes. Number one, it became like a full year sport. When I was a student here at rowing, we didn't do fall rowing. It was indoor training, winter training, and then the spring season only. When I started coaching here, it was a full year. So we did fall regattas, fall training, so it was year round. The other thing was when I rowed here, there were a lot of women rowing, girls rowing at the time. And when I came into this position, the numbers had reduced quite significantly. So one of the things that we've been really working on is trying to increase those numbers again. It's been going really, really well. Last year, I think we were just under 30, which is, for kind of our size of school, a good size program.
The Women's Championship 8. The Brock University 25th Anniversary Trophy Final. In lane number 3 is Ridley College. Ridley College in the lead as of right now, pulling ahead in lane number 3. Sabrina Seville DeCosti for the 8-person crew. Novella Russman, Rachel Dirks, Jade Postma, Sydney Swift, Charlotte Peakenhagen, Heather Clark, Tia Lampman, and Chloe Fortman. The gap getting bigger and bigger here for the final push. Ridley College in lane number 3, holding on, and will win the Brock University 25th Anniversary Trophy as the champions of the Women's Eights.
I think we are intentional in trying to support all of the programs. So the men's coach and I work really well together. Like, for example, this summer we're team coaching a Team Canada boat. They were looking for a place to host the girls' sweep project, as they called it. And so together with some other school coaches, we put our hand up to say we would host it here at Ridley and in St Catharines. We didn't plan on doing it this way. It was not really, we kind of thought our athletes would go through selection and then move on to, be with their team and coach somewhere else, but it didn't work out that way. So it's been a really positive, we kind of realized that, oh, wait a second, this is actually a great place to host it. We've got the Henley course, which is going to be hosting the Worlds. We have all the facilities here that we need. It's been really collaborative with the other school coaches in terms of, you know, building a program and bringing in the athletes. It's been great.
When you're purchasing swimwear from the Salty Bikini, you're getting beauty, confidence, and the latest in swimwear fashion. Every woman deserves to feel like a goddess in her swimsuit. Say goodbye to stress and hello to confidence as you shop with us. The Salty Bikini is proud to be a platinum sponsor of the 2024 World Rowing Championships. Good luck to all the competitors. Come see us in-store at the Salty Bikini. We're located in the Ridley Heights Plaza in St Catharines, Ontario, or visit us online at thesaltybikini.ca.
Welcome to White Meadows Farms. Join our Discover Maple Sugar Bush tour and explore the world of maple syrup. Meet our expert guide and discover traditions that have thrived for centuries. Hop aboard a tractor-drawn wagon and journey to the heart of our forest. Indulge in legendary treats like taffy on snow and experience our 100% pure maple syrup. Finish with a maple syrup tasting and see how we elevate maple beyond the breakfast table. Book your experience today and discover everything Canadian maple.
The universe does it with a big bang. Wonderful pistachios. Get cracking.
Niagara College Bob.
The 2024 World Rowing Championship regatta continues here in St. Catharines after a short break we took to allow our competitors to train for the afternoon slate we have going. My name is Noel Vogel alongside my co-host Mike Inuitz, and we're beginning here with race number 1 of the afternoon, the 2:30 start. It's the men's double sculls.
South Africa.
As they wait for takeoff here in the U23 division. These are the semifinals. Top 3 crews moving on to the A final. The remaining going to the B final.
Lots of heavy hitters in this race to start off the afternoon session. We have the pair from Ireland. Adam Murphy won gold last year, looking to defend his title alongside a new partner, Brian Kolsch. Looking at them on the screen there, they are in lane 4. South Africa in lane 1, Switzerland in lane 2, Australia in lane 4, Australia in lane 3, Ireland in lane 4, Portugal in 5, and in 6, Croatia. South Africa really great, getting off to a high stroke rate at 44, well above their competitors.
Australia with a narrow lead to start this first 350 meters or so over the Croatians, and really tight pack so far in the first 500.
And you can just see how long this course is. The rowers here today, 2,000 meters start to finish. We're about just before 500 here, so lots of race left to cover. And we're in the U23 division. Ireland and Australia in the two middle lanes, which means they had the fastest qualifying time to get into this semifinal.
You can see the stroke rate really even, the pace really consistent throughout 1 through 6. Croatia with the fastest per minute as of right now, but you can see Australia more efficient with their meters per stroke at around 8.2, staying very consistent over 8 meters for every stroke and holding on to a very narrow lead over the Croatians. Ireland nearing in behind them, and we talked about how they are the reigning champions in this event for the U23 men's doubles, and have a returnee in their crew, a new duo, but are looking to retain that medal for the country of Ireland.
Again, it's not a title easily won. There is a lot of nations buying in to get this title taken away from the Irish. But they're looking for a back-to-back victory in the World Championships. Australia trying to take it away from them. Again, the top 3 will move on to Final A, and then we will have one more semifinal, which the top 3 in that one will finish off in the Final A to compete for a medal.
For Australia, the crew for them, Nicholas Blackman, Dominic Federico, with a narrow lead over Croatia, who were one of the lower finishers in the qualifying heats for these semifinals.
In the stroke seat for Croatia, Ivan Talaja, and in the bow, Davor Poljankic. Ireland and Croatia now going back and forth. And only 3 positions to be qualifying to the final, so everyone's giving it their all, making sure they get into their spot to potentially win a medal this weekend.
The Portuguese now moving into one of those top 3 spots for Croatia. They had to make their way to the semifinals through the repechage as they came second in that race after finishing in 5th place in heat number 1, and found themselves qualifying for the semifinal, and have now dropped out of those top 3 qualifying positions, but are fighting for it right now with the Portuguese.
The Australians in a great rhythm with each other, have worked together very well so far this race. 3 seconds ahead of second place.
Keeping that gap between second place Ireland and the combination of Adam Murphy and Brian Kolsch.
Yeah, and you see Adam Murphy in the bow seats looking around, making sure Croatia isn't potentially putting on a sprint that they don't know about. Got to keep an eye on all of the competition. 300 meters to go. We got grandstands on both sides of the water. You can see the fans getting out of their seats, cheering on their teams and their crews. It's anyone's race, as long as they're about 20 meters within striking distance of each other, which the top 3 are at the moment. Portugal not far behind the Croatians.
Croatia increasing their stroke weight now to 39 strokes per minute. Australia still leading. You can see the speed now picking up for the Croatians. They're holding on to that top 3 position with Ireland and Australia, but trying to move into the top 2. It's looking like Australia is going to be able to hold on, though, with less than 50 meters to go here in this race. The Australians holding on to their speed here and are going to win semi-final number 1 for the U23 men's double sculls. Behind them, the Irish, and in third place, Croatia. The top 3 moving on to the A final. And will be fighting for a medal in this event. So the Irish didn't come out on top, but still a chance to reign as champions in this event. Australia led throughout the entire race and looked smooth and confident throughout. Micah.
Yeah, the crews haven't raced since the ones that qualified and didn't have to be in the repechage hasn't raced since Sunday. And I'll remind everyone, Sunday's conditions were a lot different than today's. The times were around 6 minutes and 14 seconds, and now you can see much slower times. That's just due to the water conditions, weather conditions alongside the water. Australia with the time of 6 minutes and 49 seconds, but still world class, being able to adjust their strategies to go alongside with the conditions they happen to have that day. So great job by all of the competitors.
So now moving swiftly over to the second semifinal. Again, the top 3 moving on will figure out our final 6 fighting for a medal in the U23 men's double sculls. This race already well underway at the 1200 meter mark when we rejoin all of these rowers. Starting in lane number 1 is People's Republic of China, Great Britain in lane number 2, Germany's in lane number 3, Poland lane number 4, Lithuania in lane number 5, and Italy in lane number 6. For the Polish, they won silver at the last World Championships and had a bit of a underwhelming Rowing World Cup 3 earlier this season, where they only came 6th place in this event, and are looking to show that they're still here, and they're coming to play right now, leading Italy by around 8 to 7 meters.
Another thing to add, it was China, the rowers from China, to compete in the repechage to get into this semi-final. Right now, they're currently back 40 meters from the leader. Another small little rivalry in between this race is between the Polish and Great Britain. They raced together in the World Cup 3 in June. And I know Great Britain's Stephen Hughes was looking forward to that matchup. As of right now, Poland is taking the lead. Great Britain 23 meters behind them, but still 300 meters to go. We can see a final push being made by any team here.
Really, really tight near the top 3. Italy just on the heels of Poland. And the other medal winners from last year's World Cup, or World Championship, pardon me, was the Germans. They were the bronze medal winners and have the same crew out here today, and were one of the top finishers. Came first in their heat and now sit in 5th place behind Great Britain and Lithuania, fighting for that 3rd position.
You can expect these speeds to increase as they're in the last 200 meters. As you see the red buoys, gives the athletes a visual representation of how close they are. If you don't need visual, you can definitely just hear the fans from the grandstands. That'll give you enough knowledge to know how close you are.
The Polish really pushing here fending off the Italians who sit just behind them. Their stroke rate increasing immensely, now 39 strokes per minute here, nearing in on the final finish line to get them into the finals. To medal once again, it will be them, Lithuania, and Italy, who finished very close behind one another. We'll await the final times, but it will be the Polish to win semifinal number 2, the Italians to finish second, and Lithuania to round out the top 3 positions for the A final.
Really great second final there. Great Britain and Germany just a little too far away to compete with the top 3, but those two nations really close together. I'm excited to see how they do in the final B. But like you said, Noah, Poland, Italy, and Lithuania move on for medal contention this weekend.
So your final times on your screen. The Polish looking to medal once again at this year's World Rowing Championship. Finish first in semifinal number 2, and will go in as one of the favorites from today into the final. It will now move us over to the U23 Women's 4 semifinals. This is one of 2, the A and B semifinal, and we're underway here, 700 meters about through this race, where we join our rowers as each of these teams look for one of those top 3 qualification spots to the A final.
And on your screen, you see the New Zealand in the black singlets. 3 of their 4 rowers on the boat today won silver in the 4s last year's at the World Rowing U23 Championships. So that's something to look out for as Great Britain takes the early lead. New Zealand not far behind. Almost nothing between the two of them. Reach that 1,000 meter mark. That's right where the Henley Island starts, as that's where the athletes will get into the water. It's also where the coaches are. They're giving their last little support, tidbits of strategy to go in between the 1,000 meter mark to the 2,000 meter mark.
We talked to earlier about, you know, how some of these athletes have started rowing at different times and different points of their life, and for Great Britain there's a big difference in their crew, and Grace Richards, a part of that team, who started rowing at the age of 13, and when her teammate Philippa Emery only started in 2021 when she was just 19 years old. So a big gap between those two, yet now they're battling it out together here at the 2024 World Rowing Championship Regatta, and currently sitting in second place, nearing in on New Zealand for that top spot in semifinal number 1.
New Zealand in the lead 4 meters on Great Britain. And then third place is in between France and Netherlands. That is where the battle is currently. Again, only the top 3 make the finals. USA and Canada falling just a little too much behind to maybe contend for that third place position. But really close race between the top 4.
The French and the Dutch in contention for that number 3 spot behind Great Britain and New Zealand. For the French, they've had some experience on the international stage already this season at World Rowing Cup number 3, where they finished in 6th place, and they're looking to up that finish here at the World Rowing Championship. very close behind the Netherlands for third place. Great Britain and New Zealand going stride for stride right now. No difference between them in those top 2 spots.
All of these rowers almost at the same speed, same stroke rate. It's going to be who has that last bit of energy to push themselves to the finish line. The rower in the front, the stroke seat, making that decision on when they should make that push. New Zealand having the smallest breakaway over Great Britain, growing ever so slightly. France and Netherlands still neck and neck.
The pace has stayed very consistent for all of these crews near that top 4. It's going to be up to who decides to break that and make a final push for those qualifying spots. New Zealand holding on to a narrow lead over Great Britain. It's narrow margins between the Dutch and the French for third place. The French just barely holding on to that number 3 spot. New Zealand, can they hold on from the Brits? They will just do enough. Who's going to finish third? Will it be the French? Will it be the Dutch? And it looked as though in lane number 5, France was just able to edge them out for that top 3 finish to move on to the A finals. We'll await the final times, but we know for sure New Zealand, Great Britain, and France will be moving on to fight for a medal in the U23 women's fours.
The time between these crews is so minimal. It is a game of inches when it comes to that finish line. So close to finish that race.
So New Zealand with the top time in semifinal number 2, Great Britain nearing behind them, and France now a chance to do better here at the World Rowing Championships than they did at World Cup Rowing 3. And to find out our other 3 finalists, we'll move over to the start list of semifinal number 2, semifinal B, if you will. Starting out in lane number 1, Germany, lane number 2, Switzerland, lane number 3, Poland, lane number 4, Australia, lane number 5, Spain, and lane number 6, Austria.
Just over the halfway mark. Australia's in the lead by about 13 meters. Switzerland in second. Then goes Austria, Spain, Poland, then Germany. Poland Poland are the defending U23 champions. On this year's crew, they have 2 returnees. Australia, on the other hand, has last year's bronze medal winner, Rebecca Pretorius. So lots of talent on these boats in this semifinal. It's going to be a close one. Australia up to a 20-meter lead. Great rhythm. More meters per stroke, as you can see. Switzerland and Austria fighting for that second place. Top 3 move on to the finals.
Austria battling for a qualifying spot, just edging out Switzerland now for second place. And we talked to Lisa Zayatmar, who mentioned one of her biggest challenges this season was switching from pairs to the fours event. And when she talked about someone who inspires her to be better, it's her countrymate and Laura Teffenthaler, who's, of course, we talked about an Olympian and really showed out yesterday in her races. And just incredible to have someone like that you can look up to, learn from. And for Austria in this fours event are looking to get themselves into that medal round and prove that they are here to take home some silverware.
Poland currently in 5th place, 47 meters behind the leaders. Only 20 meters behind 3rd place to get into that medal contention, but you'd have to expect they have something left in the tank. They've been behind this whole race, but like I said before, the defending U23 champions, they know what it takes to win. Just keep an eye out for them. They may have something left to push in the last 200 meters here.
You can see how smooth each catch is for this crew in first place in Australia. Their speed not the highest, but very consistent.
Spain trying to make a move, get into that 3rd place position.
It's going to come down to the wire here. Spain is slowly falling off the pace for that top 3 position. Very tight between Austria and Switzerland for 2nd place, but the Australians look comfortably in 1st. Nearing in on the finish line, it will be Australia to finish number 1, Switzerland to finish number 2, Austria number 3, and Spain just missing out in 4th place. So a slower semi-final than the first, but Australia does just enough to take top spot in semi-final B, and will find themselves in one of those middle lanes for final A in the medal rounds for the U23 women's fours.
Yeah, again, it's not how fast you do it. You could have the 2nd best time, but be in the wrong, the 4th best time in the wrong heat, and you won't move on. So I'm sure these rowers are happy with the positions they came for the top 3, moving on to the final. Very interesting to see Poland in the bottom 2 there, as they had 2 of the defending world champions on that boat. Yeah, you see they're coming in last place. Very interesting to me. Moving along to the next semifinals, U23 men's 4. Again, here the top 3 will make it to the finals. We'll have 2 semifinals for a total of 6 crews, in the finals. We get a replay of the start here.
So now with the U23 men's 4, semi-final number 1 of 2. Same rules apply. Top 3 move on to the A final. Starting out in lane number 1, Germany, Norway, currently in the lead in lane number 2. Have lost out now just narrowly to Great Britain out of lane number 3. France in lane number 4, Romania in lane number 5, and Austria in lane number 6.
So just to paint the picture of how good this Great Britain team is on this boat right now, it has the gold medal winners of a rower from the men's 8, cockless 4, and pair. So 4 of those rowers came together to create this crew, and now competing in the semifinals of the 4 cockless. Currently in the lead by 2 seconds above Norway, followed by France, Romania slightly behind them.
Sitting in the number 3 spot, like you said, Mike, of France, who won bronze in this boat class last year and has 3 of their crew back here again to try and improve on that feat.
When we get to these semifinals, especially these top ones in medal contention, these crews are stacked with talent. They know what it takes to win. A lot of them have won before. It's a matter of finding your rhythm, understanding the water you're on, and just attacking it. France now with a little bit of a higher stroke rate than the British, trying to close the small gap that there is.
Norway just fending off Romania inside the red buoys. 200 meters left to go in semifinal number 1 of the U23 men's 4. It's Great Britain with a narrow lead over France. Romania increasing to a very high speed here to try and catch Norway in the final. They beat them, and it's going to be Great Britain, France, and Romania to finish in the top 3 positions, with Great Britain just narrowly beating the French for the number 1 spot.
We talked about Great Britain having a great crew for this event. France, can't count them out either. 3 of the returning bronze medalists. Romania, we haven't talked about yet, but a great rowing nation. They had 5 total medals in this past Olympics for the rowing. And a great showing out here to make it to the finals of this men's 4.
They were over 5 seconds behind Great Britain at the 1,500 meter mark and finished only 1.62 behind them, finishing in 3rd place. Had their stroke rate pushing 46, 47 strokes per minute and really picked up the pace in those final 200 meters. France was just able to hold on and almost beat Great Britain for that number 1 spot, but nonetheless, those are the top 3 moving on. And we'll get 3 more from semifinal number 2, which you see on your screen, the start list for the U23 men's 4 semifinal B. Starting out in lane number 1, Croatia, lane number 2, Italy, Switzerland in lane number 3, Australia in lane number 4, New Zealand beside them in lane number 5, and the Netherlands in lane number 6.
Australia currently in the lead, followed closely by New Zealand, who are next to them in lane 5. Again, this race isn't as close right now, but we know these crews can turn up at any moment. Different crews, different strategies. It only matters if you can cross the finish line in the top 3 to move on.
Australia, very experienced crew, have all medalists from last year's U23 championships, 2 silver medalists from this specific boat class, and 2 bronze medalists from the coxless pair.
Another team to look out for. Currently in 3rd place is the Italians. They have 2 reigning World U23 champions on board from this event last year. So again, we talk about this veteran presence, knowing what it takes to win and helping your other teammates understand and push them to that level of excellency. Coming in the last 250 meters here, you're just getting a view of the red buoys. The rowers now know they're in the final stretch. Any energy left you have must exert now. It doesn't matter how much energy you have after the race if you come 4th place here.
The Italians increasing their stroke rate now at 43. Switzerland, who had one of the top times in the qualifying heats, are slowly falling out in 4th place. 150 meters left to go. Australia, New Zealand comfortably in the 1-2 position. Italy behind them in 3rd. It's going to take a lot if the Swiss are going to try and catch the Italians, but it looks like for sure Australia will finish in 1st place here in semifinal number 2 for the U23 men's 4s. And following them will be New Zealand out of lane number 5. And finally, to round out the top 3 will be Italy out of lane number 2. The Swiss just missing out, as well as the Croatians in 4th and 5th place.
The pace that was made from the Australians was a fast one out of the starting gates, and they kept that up through and through the whole race. New Zealand did a great job at keeping up with them, putting on a great show for the fans here in St. Catharines, Canada, around the Martindale Ponds.
So we officially have our 6 finalists for the U23 men's 4. And there are your 3 from heat semifinal number 2, Italy, New Zealand, and Australia. The top 3 teams moving forward. This will now take us to our next event, the U23 men's quadruple sculls. Again, 2 semifinals, top 3 moving on. As we get over to that race now, which has already begun.
In lane number 1, we have Lithuania. Lane number 2, Chile. France in lane 3. Italy in lane 4. Poland in 5. New Zealand in 6. Catching them right at the 1,000 meter mark. One thing to note here is there is only 1 returning medalist in this event, and that was from the rower from Germany, not in this heat, or semifinals, pardon me. The Italians, though, have 2 gold medalists from back in 2022 in this boat. So they're in lane 4, something to keep an eye on, as they're currently in the lead, just in front of Poland. Again, it is such a great thing when you have a fast boat right next to you, so you can keep that pace and you know what it takes to win. So as long as you keep up, you have a pretty good shot at making it forward into the finals here.
It's the Italians out front, Poland nearing it on their tail. And France rounding out the top 3, New Zealand just behind them. Lithuania also in contention for a qualifier spot. Past the 1,500 meter mark, a quarter of the race to go, and Poland has really gained some ground now on Italy.
3 rowers in the Polish boat raced this year in the World Rowing Cup 3, finishing 6th place. So it's not the first time that they've raced together, but hoping to improve on that position. Currently in the lead over the Italians. New Zealand now neck and neck with the French, coming down into the last 250 meters.
Very even stroke rate between the top 4 teams. Italy have now fallen out of that number 1 spot. And when talking to Luca Iniamulis in that Italian boat, he said the number 1 thing he wants to do in rowing is become number 1. And to do that is to try and win gold here at the World Rowing Championships. And he's in a very good position with his crew to finish in the top 3 and qualify. But the Polish are slowly edging them out of that number 1 spot in semifinal number 1. It's the Polish nearing in on the finish line with only a few meters to go. Italy just behind them will finish in 2nd place. France fighting with New Zealand for the 3rd spot. It will be the French to close out the top 3 positions. Poland, Italy, and France moving on to the U23 men's quadruple sculls final.
You know they're ecstatic with themselves. They raced so beautifully there, all together as a team, in sync the whole way. Now for a chance to win gold in a few days. Italy and France can't be too upset with themselves. They fought hard, stayed with Poland the whole race, and they get another chance for revenge against them as they move on to the finals. Unfortunately for New Zealand, New Zealand, Chile, and Lithuania will be in the finals B in contention for the top 12 positions.
So there are your final times. The top 3 above the yellow line are the ones moving forward to the finals. And we'll get our 3 other finalists to make the U23 men's quadruple sculls gold medal final. In semi-final number 2, starting out in lane number 1 is the United States, lane number 2 Switzerland, Czechia in lane number 3, Ireland in lane number 4, Germany in lane number 5, and Great Britain in lane number 6. It's very narrow, nearing the 1,000 meter mark. United States in that 6th position, only 26 meters behind the Germans in first.
Note here that only medalist in this discipline is one rower, Ole Hannick from Germany, on the German boat in lane 5. All the other rowers here have not won a medal in this discipline. Hoping to change that here at the 2024 World Rowing Championships in St. Catharines.
Germany holding a narrow advantage over the Irish in first place. And when talking to the stroke seat of that German crew, Tom Granitz, he talked about what are his goals moving forward, and his one main point was to try and medal at this event and hopefully in the future qualify for the Olympic Games in 2028. And he said one thing he had to add was his lucky charm that he keeps on the boat at all times is a rabbit just placed in front of the boat that he holds on there for the entirety of the regatta. It's hard to see if it's there in this race, but certainly something that he likes to have to get him through these grueling races, as they are keeping a very good distance stroke for stroke with the Irish, with Czechia moving into spot number 3.
Need help? Need help, bro?
1,500 meters gone, a quarter of the race still yet to be found on who will win semifinal number 2. Great Britain breathing down the necks of Czechia for a top 3 spot. The Irish falling in to number 3, possibly to be beat out by Britain. We'll see how we move entering the red buoys in the final 250 meters of the 2000.
You'd have to expect Germany saving themselves, only a 35 stroke rate right now, well under their competitors in the other lanes, but you have to think they're prepping themselves for a big push when the time comes, still gaining the most meters per stroke here, almost 10 meters in front of the others, at a great distance in front. Can anyone challenge them here in the last 100 meters?
Very consistent, very fluid from the Germans in the lead right now. You can really see the speeds picking up over 20 kilometers an hour now from those top 4 boats. Czechia and Great Britain, as well as the Irish, fighting for second and third place. The Germans are going to hold on to first, but who will finish in the qualifying spots? It's going to be really tight. Britain making their final push. It looks like the Irish and Czechia just beat them out, but we'll have to wait for the final times. We know the Germans came in first place with a time of 6:08:53. The United States and Switzerland will bow out. Czechia to finish second. And in third place, Great Britain just beating out Ireland to move on to the A final and a chance to medal at the 2024 World Rowing Championships.
One of the closest finishes we've had at this event so far. 0.02 seconds apart from each other. Wow. Even that frame of all four of them pretty much coming across that finish line roughly at the same time. Not even 2 seconds between the top four crews is an unbelievable finish. Great Britain ecstatic to be racing again for a medal here in the men's quadruple sculls.
For Great Britain, they were almost 3 seconds behind the lead and came within a 1.5 behind Germany to finish in the top 3. For now, for me, Noah Vogel, this is it. I will pass it across to my co-host Mike Inuitz, who will take you over to the next event for the U23 men's single sculls semifinal. I will be back tomorrow for the rest, on Friday for the rest of the coverage of this week. But for now, I'll pass it over to you, Micah.
Thank you, Noah. It's been a great day with you. Look forward to the rest of the week here in the U23 men's single sculls semifinals. USA lane 1, Switzerland lane 2, Italy in lane 3, Germany lane 4, New Zealand in 5, and in 6, Ireland. As we cross the halfway meter mark, Germany is in the lead, followed by Ireland, Italy, and New Zealand, all bounding for that top 3 position to make the finals. There is no second chance here like there was in the heats. You have to win, come in the top half of the race to move on for medal contention. Feder of the United States of America, currently 60 meters behind, only started sculling last summer. So one of his biggest challenges this season was learning how and to trust the form and trust his coaches around him. That's an unbelievable story. Having only started this discipline 1 year ago, already making it to the semifinals of the single sculls. Germany now opening up a 20-meter lead. Again, top 3, so New Zealand, Ireland, and Italy all fighting for that top 2 and top 3 position. About a 17-meter difference between 3rd and 4th. As you can see on the right shoulder of the Irishman, Andrew Sheehan, he's tracking his power outage, his heart rate, making sure he doesn't overdo it and have no energy left in the finals. The Italian looking around, making sure he's sticking with the competition. Doesn't want to get too left behind. Currently 50 meters behind. Has a long way left to go in the 500 meters left in this race. The Swiss always bringing out the cowbells for these rowing events. Encouraging their rowers to get to that finish line. You can already hear them for 400 meters out, usually with the crowd. We get it around 200 meters, so that extra motivation to get them across the finish line as fast as possible. Here in St. Catharines, we have 2 grandstands, both on either side of the water, to get as many fans and supporters in as possible. Germany pushing the speed up now, doesn't want to give any leeway to New Zealand, who is currently in 2nd place. have 200 meters left to go. You see the red buoys coming in, fighting hard, keeping that rhythm, keeping that technique and posture as best as they can for this semifinals. Just about 7 minutes of this race. Germany, the good lead. Timo Strach. You see him now cross the finish line, almost by himself. Oscar Rustin of New Zealand in second place, with then Andrew Sheehan crossing the line now for the top 3 finalists. The first 3 to make it on to the finals will have one more semifinal. To see who will be joining them. And what a race that was. You wonder if the Irishman saw that it was a little out of reach, but knew he had a 5-second difference between him and the rower from Switzerland, and just saved some energy maybe for the finals. These athletes are just figuring out their opponents' strategies, tendencies, figuring out what's the best way to attack these top world-class athletes. Then you have Germany in the first place with 7 minutes, 18 seconds. Oscar Rustin of New Zealand, 7 minutes, 20 seconds. And Andrew Sheehan of Ireland, 7 minutes, 28 seconds to round out the first semifinals. Looking at the next one here, France in lane 1, Tunisia lane 2, Sweden lane 3, Belgium lane 4, Portugal in 5, and the Republic People of China in lane 6. This semifinal a lot closer. We have first place being Sweden, and then the top 4 boats, only 10 meters difference between all 4 of them. There you see just how close it really is between all 4 of them, all being able to see each other, almost right exactly beside each other. The Swedish rider Erik Karlström, his biggest challenge this year has been a broken hand and a back injury, keeping him out of the boat for the majority of this season. Thankfully, he's out back on the water, currently in first place. See how he holds up through about a quarter left in the race to go. A beautiful story, coached by his mother, who rowed herself. I guess it stays in the family as he is ahead in semifinals number 2 in the U23 men's single sculls semifinals. China slowly falling back just a little bit. Belgium now pushing ahead with a speed of 4.44 meters per second. To round out the top 3 again is the Swedish, then the Portuguese, then the Belgium rower Aaron Andries in third place. The technique you have to have at these World Championships has to be perfect, especially when these water conditions allow these rowers to have free run. The power isn't there to get them through these bigger waves. The water is flat. You have to have a perfect catch and finish through the water with your oars. The legs are smooth, up and down with the knees. Now only 3 meters difference between 1, 2, and 3. It looks like those will be the finalists moving forward, but what position will it be? Portugal now in the lead. Belgium only 1 meter behind. All at the same time. The speeds are the same. Stroke rate is all the same. It's going to be a matter of maybe whose fans are going to be the loudest here, giving them their support and energy to finish this race strong. As we get to the finish line here, all so close. It looks like the Belgian rider, then the Swedish, and then the Portuguese. But I could, yes. Belgium first, 7 minutes, 20 seconds. Then the Swedish in number 2, half a second behind Aaron Andries, and then Portugal 1 second behind. An extremely close race between the top 3, all voting for the best times they have to have the preferred lane in the finals, which will be this weekend. To round it out, China, Tunisia, and then France for the second semifinals of this discipline. Again, atop of that yellow line will be the finalists moving forward for medal contention. All extremely close with the times. And now we cast our views towards the women. First semifinals of the U23 single sculls. In lane number 1, we have Finland. Number 2, Paraguay. Number 3, Germany. Lane number 4, Greece. Lane 5, Belgium, and lane 6, USA. Just crossing the 1,000 meter mark. We have a close race between the top 3. Germany is in the lead, followed by Belgium. And then between Greece and Paraguay, is extremely close. Only a couple meters between 3rd and 4th place, which may be the race to get into that finals. We will have 2 of these races to make a total of 6 rowers in the finals, all fighting for that gold medal this weekend. Alexandra Foster with the stroke rate of 34, well above second and 3rd place. But it's the Belgium rower who has the best stroke, meters per stroke, being efficient with the catch, not bringing any drag of the boat with her as she brings those oars above the water. The speeds these women get on the water are incredible. Now pushing to 1,400 meters of total of 2,000. On the screen there is Killian Mullen from the United States, 46 meters behind the leader. Germany, who is in the lead, is cruising. Has the highest stroke rate, but not as efficient as some of the other rowers in this semifinal. Has a 3-second difference between 1st and 2nd. This course opens up at the end of the race, so a lot of the rowers we see save that energy to make sure they are balanced and ready for that crosswind and potential bigger waves that can build up from there. 14 meters difference between first and second. Greece is 28 meters behind that. Paraguay just falling behind, only 4 meters behind, fighting for that last position to get into the final. Alexandra Foster, who reached the final B in Paris 2024 Olympics just weeks ago. Looking to improve on that, and it looks like she will make the finals, the A finals. Greece's Evelina Franco took bronze in the singles last year's at the U23s. She is currently in third place, about 10 meters in front of Paraguay, who is in fourth. There you go, the first to finish, Germany, Belgium, and then Greece will round out the top three. Paraguay finishing fourth, just out of the contention to race for a medal later this week. The official times: Alexandra Foster, 7 minutes, 57 seconds. Mazarine Gilpert from Belgium, 7 minutes, 59 seconds. And Evelina Franco of Greece, 8 minutes and 1 second. Moving on to the finals. The conditions on the water have definitely calmed down since earlier in the week. Sunday was the perfect day to go for the world's best time, as we saw the lightweight singles in the men's division. Niels Tor go for a world's best time here in St. Catharines. We've seen 2 World Championships best times as well on Sunday. Then, of course, Monday got canceled due to high winds. We had a delay Tuesday morning. So again, the water and the wind have definitely calmed down since earlier, giving almost the perfect conditions to race here, as long as you're okay with the water not going in your direction. For the second semifinals in the U23 women's single sculls, Poland in lane 1, Austria lane 2, France in lane 3, number 4, Switzerland lane number 5, South Africa, and number 6, People's Republic of China. Switzerland is currently in the lead. Followed by France, about 15 meters behind that, and then South Africa and France are neck and neck with about 1 meter's difference between the two. It looks like they found their rhythm. They know what it's going to take to win this race. It's just going to be a matter of executing their strategy that they've talked about with their coaches for probably the past couple weeks. And they've been able to already race on this water once in this regatta. The Polish rower won silver in the lightweight women's doubles last year. So this year, moving up a weight class in the open division now, and also going solo in the boat, currently in 5th place. The Swiss rider Aurelia Maxima Katharina Jansen. Alongside the German was in the B final of the Paris Olympics just weeks ago. As you can see, she is really in her prime form, opening up a 20-meter difference between herself and the French rider Mila Massimin. She doesn't need a high stroke rate, but she's very efficient when she gets in the water. A very pure, strong rider and, rower and competitor, showing that here in St. Catharines. Now in the last 250 meters for the top three. Switzerland's in the lead. Barring anything unusual, she looks like she will take the win. France behind her, you see that on your screen. And South Africa just in the lane closer to us from Switzerland. To close off, Switzerland, France, and then South Africa will be your remaining finalists in Final A at the 2024 World Rowing Championships. Another great race here from all the competitors. Lots of Swiss fans here, flags, cowbells. They travel with the whole band. Your official times. Switzerland, 8 minutes and 1 second. A little slower than the first semifinal, but she will make it on nonetheless. Number 2 in French, 8 minutes and 6 seconds. And rounding off the top 3, Courtney Wesley from South Africa, 8 minutes and 9 seconds. Moving on to your finals. Continuing on with the trend, we have another semifinals here for medal contention. U23 men's pair. In lane 1, Great Britain. Lane 2, Norway. Lane 3, Romania. New Zealand is in lane 4. Italy is in lane 5. And then Spain to round off closest to the cameras. It is currently New Zealand in the lead with a 6-meter lead on Italy, and then Great Britain will round off the top 3. We're just above the quarter way of the race. You can tell with the bridge in the background, the water's opening up. Great Britain are the defending champions of the U23 division, making their international debut here in St. Catharines though. This Romanian pair, both rowers were on top of the podium twice last year in the European Rowing U23 Championships, winning gold in both the pair and the 8. So lots of heavy, high-level competition in the first semifinals here. We'll have even more in the second. We have the last 200 meters left to go. New Zealand still in the lead. Extremely close race for second and third. We have Italy, Romania, and Great Britain up for the grabs and contention for those. Romania's stroke rate up to 46. Great Britain, though, keeping their speed per stroke high enough, but they're going to have to increase their stroke rate to compete with the Romanians, now pulling ahead, almost beating the Italians at this point. Great Britain seems like they just didn't have enough to make the top 3 and move on to the finals. There you see the top 3 crossing, about a boat length in between. New Zealand coming in first with a time of 6 minutes and 51 seconds. And second, the Italians on your screen, 6 minutes, 52 seconds. And then the Romanians in lane 3, 6 minutes and 52 seconds. It looked like Great Britain had it there for a while. Couldn't get that, whether they didn't have enough in the tank or something maybe just went wrong, that they lost their speed. There's Matt Carr and Richard Hawes in that boat for Team GB. That was their first semifinals of the men's pair U23 division. If you're just tuning in, we're in a whirlwind of semifinals to see who will make the A finals. Currently, we're watching the U23 men's pair. We're live in St Catharines, Canada, here for the 2024 World Rowing Championships. You see on your screen here, Germany is in lane 1, Slovenia lane 2, Greece is in lane 3, United States of America 4, France in 5, and the host country, Canada, closest to the camera, in lane 6. Just crossing the halfway mark now. Slovenia is in the lead, just in front of Germany, 5 meters difference between the two. USA and Greece, both fighting for that third place position, only 5 meters in between those two boats. The young duo from Germany, Tobias Strangeman and Jonas Benian, are no strangers to the World Rowing podium, having won silver in the juniors division, U19 men's pair last year. And then in 2022, they won the U19's men's 8. So they have been racing together for a few years now. They know each other's tendencies, what they like to do, what they can handle as rowers during the long 2,000-meter stretch that they have to complete. Slovenia keeping themselves a small distance in front of the United States and Germany, who are currently making out your top 3. Greece fell behind 20 meters now. Seems like they have just fallen out of the race. We'll see just how much conservation of energy they have themselves left to make a push for the finals. Both France and Canada seem to be down and out, but what a great experience for them, having one more race to go in the B finals. We'll see much more success coming their way during next season. USA close the gap, fighting Slovenia now for the best lane possible that they can have in the finals. Germany keeping up with them, but maybe slowing down just a little bit, as their stroke rate is the lowest between the top 3. They have about 1 more minute until they are finished the race. 200 meters left to go here in the U23 men's pair semifinals number 2. The top 3 make it on to the finals and will be competing for a medal later this week. An extremely close battle between the United States and Slovenia, who are now 5 meters behind, just have a slower speed than the Americans. It's going to be close. We'll have to see who crosses the finish line first. The Americans are first. It looked like Germany and then Slovenia. We'll have to wait and see. With the official times, USA 6 minutes and 50 seconds, the fastest time of the semifinals. Slovenia, came second, 2 seconds behind the Americans. And then a very close battle between them. Germany just sneaking behind them to make out the final 3. Greece is 4th. And then waiting for the official times for the last 2. Canada in 5th, and then France with the 6th place finish. Moving on to the B finals later this week. That finishes the races for today. A beautiful day for racing here in St. Catharines, Canada for the 2024 World Rowing Championships. Again, we'll be back here tomorrow morning. There you see on screen the schedule. We start the finals day tomorrow. So lots on the line experience. And then a couple heats for the juniors of the U19s as well to look forward to before the afternoon session. That is all for today. My name is Micah Newitz, signing off for now in St. Catharines for the 2024 World Rowing Championships in St. Catharines, Canada.
Programs immerse students with a highly experiential learning environment enhanced by digital technologies. We place students at the center of all that we do. We are Niagara College.
Tired of searching for that one keyboard shortcut? We solve technology so you don't have to. At SkyComp, we are lifelong learners, always upgrading our skills and reading about the next new IT thing. Go to skycomp.ca/learn to better use the programs you work with every day. SkyComp Solutions, your technology support partner.
Adulthood is full of surprises, maybe too full of surprises. That's why CAA Niagara has reliable insurance plans. Be ready for the unexpected expenses with home, auto, life, travel, and pet insurance plans. Plus, CAA members get exclusive pricing on all of our plans. Because adulting is hard, but CAA Niagara makes it easy. Click today for your free online quote.
At Genesis Niagara, the most important feature in every Genesis is you. Designed with the simple idea that the experience of owning your Genesis should be as exceptional as the vehicle itself. It's about valuing your time, respecting your lifestyle, and making things effortless, and building a relationship based on trust. Genesis Niagara serving Hamilton, Niagara, where you are at the center of everything we do.
Team Canada and Pilataria Estates Winery unite with a perfect pairing of tradition and excellence. Deeply rooted in pride, respect, and the pursuit of greatness. Celebrate the Olympic spirit with every toast.
When you're purchasing swimwear from the Salty Bikini, you're getting beauty, confidence, and the latest in swimwear fashion. Every woman deserves to feel like a goddess in her swimsuit. Say goodbye to stress and hello to confidence as you shop with us. The Salty Bikini is proud to be a platinum sponsor of the 2024 World Rowing Championships. Good luck to all the competitors. Come see us in-store at the Salty Bikini. We're located in the Ridley Heights Plaza in St Catharines, Ontario, or visit us online at thesaltybikini.ca.
Welcome to White Meadows Farms. Join our Discover Maple Sugar Bush tour and explore the world of maple syrup. Meet our expert guide and discover traditions that have thrived for centuries. Hop aboard a tractor-drawn wagon and journey to the heart of our forest. Indulge in legendary treats like taffy on snow and experience our 100% pure maple syrup. Finish with a maple syrup tasting and see how we elevate maple beyond the breakfast table. Book your experience today and discover everything Canadian maple.
The universe does it with a big bang. Wonderful pistachios. Get cracking.
Oh.